Familiar faces hidden behind masks, news reports with exponential growth in cases, communication limited to screens and keyboards. These vivid images represent the pandemic-stricken year we've all faced. It is irrefutable that the year of 2020 will remain engraved in our history for years to come. Hi, my name is Amaar Halani, and like many others, I'm feeling a wave of emotions as we enter 2021. Grief over the tragic deaths, exhaustion, relief that a painful year has ended, and hope for the new year. When I began brainstorming ideas to speak about, so many thoughts came flooding in. Vaccine development and distribution, the end of social distancing, and return to normalcy. But what I am most excited for in 2021 is the groundbreaking change that will be spearheaded by our youth to bring about social, economic, and educational transformation in our nation. I remember watching in horror as the news of George Floyd's death flooded the headlines. Despite the grief it caused, it ignited a movement, one that would unite thousands of people and spark a revolution. Witnessing this gave me a lot of hope for the future. That was when I realized you, me, and the youth of our nation have the power to be the change we wish to see in this world. As heartbreaking as the acts of injustice were, the Black Lives Matter movement was truly inspirational. Over 500,000 people in the United States participated in nonviolent protests, and the world witnessed some of the most passionate and determined anti-racism calls to action in history. Young people today had the capacity to eliminate racial discrimination, gender inequality, and the unacceptance of the LGBTQ community. It exuberates me to know that in 2021, we can and will use social media to amplify the voices of those who experience discrimination and injustice. By educating and spreading awareness, sharing resources, and empowering people to speak up, we recognize these systemic issues and demand a radical change. When the quarantine was mandated, I saw many of my favorite corner shops and small stores shutting down, and it made me think, if people don't have jobs, how will they survive? The pandemic unraveled the economic inequality in our society when the most vulnerable populations were hit the hardest. As COVID restrictions lighten and small businesses get back on their feet, we can use social media to promote and bring attention to them. Our youth will be on the front lines, driving major economic transformations like digitization and automation to reestablish an equitable and prosperous economy. Every morning, I log on to Google Meet, ready to begin my day of learning. But I realize that not every child has the same resources that I do. Because of the sudden shift to remote learning, the education of students has suffered due to inaccessibility to technology and lack of in-person teaching. Despite these challenges, I've seen my older sister and many like her strive to fundraise money to provide necessary devices and extra instructions to supplement online learning. I envision that in this year, the youth will join hands to improve the quality of education, especially in underrepresented and COVID-impacted communities. As just a normal 7th grader, of course I'm looking forward to a world post-pandemic, a world where everything will finally feel normal. Playing soccer with my friends, going back to school, celebrating birthdays with my family and friends, all things I've yearned to do over the past year. But as someone who strives to be a visionary, I am exhilarated by the thought of working with the youth of our nation towards positive social, economic, and educational changes. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted education, livelihoods, and social lives, but it has inspired young people like me to advocate for ourselves and the needs of our communities. We all want 2021 to not only be free of COVID, but also free of injustice. We, the young people of today, have the capacity and the willingness to transform society. So what are we waiting for? All it takes is one simple question. What can we do to change the world? Thank you for your valuable time.